Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. Peace be unto you. Today, we are going to be talking about protecting your trade and your business. That's on our 6-part series on building our economy. So stay tuned, get you something to drink, grab your notebook, and we'll see you on the other side of these commercials and give y'all time to get dressed. Get in the car, drive over here. So instead of a countdown, we'll show you a few commercials and we'll see you in a few. Peace. You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have received so many pleasures, so many very good to look at, whether you own them or not. It's a pleasure just to look at such presents. Why, I have never witnessed so many presents. I think I have to build me a house for presents. This shows what Allah can do for you and me if we believe in Him.
There is nothing that we could not accomplish in the name of God. You know what your problem is? You don't have even a worthy goal to strive after. I'm going to give you an assignment today. Here's an assignment. Is there something you want? Do you want something? Something that you want, but you have not been able to get it? Huh? Close your eyes. Do you see it? Whatever it is that you want, first envision it. You got the picture. Do you see it? All right, now the question is, you have to claim what you see. I claim this. I claim it. I believe with all my heart in the name of God that I'll bring what is in my imagination into reality. We're going to bring it back like it never was. I see in the dome the name Allah written in Arabic. But I can't just dream. I got to go to work. How do you bring it into concrete reality? First, without faith, You can't what division?
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Tonight, we are talking about building our economy, and this episode is entitled Protection for Traders. And I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I'm an international business and real estate professional. I'm an artist, and business is my canvas. So, welcome to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show, where I give you mental strategies and secrets that I've discovered throughout my career. I love putting people in front of opportunities, helping them make their dreams come true. So, because so often, those that gain recognition in business before others are so busy charging you for the game and saying, look at me, look at me. And then after you spend all the money on the game, you don't have any more left to invest in your business. So my thing is to flip the process over and give away as much free game as I can. I charge for services. So if you need me to perform business development services, I promise you we'll make some progress in the name of Allah. And then there's a fee. And if you need me to coach you past some blind spots, there's a fee. But the game is free. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to everybody who's watching Facebook, YouTube, X. I was going to say Twitter, but it ain't Twitter no more. So this is, these shows on building our economy are very technical. They're almost like economic lectures. So you want to grab your notebook, and I hope you're all enjoying yourself. I just been really deep and full lately. I have made a lot of recent discoveries about myself. One of the last conversations that I was blessed to have with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he told me to focus on myself. And it was something about the way he said that just kind of rattled something in me and shook some stuff loose. And I thought about it, and I said to myself, what if everything that God has for me that I visualized as a child is just waiting for me to come back to myself? What if through the process of life, somehow I stopped being me? I started to focus and strip down my personality back to the essence of me. I just started working on that. I'm talking about the me before my heart was ever broken, before I was ever disappointed, before I ever struggled, before I ever worried, before I saw and witnessed unfairness. Who was I? And what did I like to do? What was important to me? How did I think? What made me happy? And I thought about this very deeply. I try to take myself through healing processes, at least one or two every month or two, depending on how long it takes me to get through it. I started, going through forgiving myself and just learning. And I thought about this deeply when he said, focus on yourself. And I encourage you guys to do the same, because this self discovery exercise that I went on proved to be so powerful for me. For me, particularly because I'm an old soul. Y'all know I'm an empath, and I was dreaming about grown people stuff way back when I was itty bitty. I didn't care about really going outside, playing, running, skipping, jumping. Um, this is going to sound really cliche. I cared about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and how many Catholic hymnals I could read, because I would watch my grandmother, and she had these little small hymnal books, and every time she read one, I would try to make sure I read one. I cared about being a mogul, building an empire, owning a hotel, a hospital, and a basketball team. That was like my main thing. I cared about using music to tell stories. Music was very important to me. I played a couple instruments, and I loved using music to tell stories. I cared about world history, and I dreamed of living in different places around the world. I had a pen pal in Africa and one in the UAE. I wrote and read a lot. I collected a lot of books and a lot of albums. And most of all these things I still do, but I had started to take them for granted, not giving them much attention. So when I went on this self-discovery journey, I started to pay more attention to those things that I do, that I've been doing my entire life. And as I began the process of returning to my authentic self, I felt myself elevate. I felt certain stress levels decrease. I felt safer. I felt a real powerful flow coming to me, and the intensity of my prayers and meditations just really, really increased. And I began now to feel new and fresh with more ideas and just an increased knowing. So I sit here before you, getting to know myself again, excited about life, connecting the dots, walking into my godhood. So it's kind of in that process that I sort of, I guess you could say, gave birth to this series that we're working on here. Tapping into this series on building our economy is one of a few ideas that came out of that process. And I told you guys during the very first episode how I had connected spiritually to Queen Amina and how I studied how she built the economy she reigned over. Episode 1, we talked about market expansion. Then we went into developing trade partnerships in episode 2. And now today in episode 3, we're talking about discussing protection for our traders. And one of the best ways to protect your trade is to do for self. Why is it so important that business and business people in our community be protected? It's because if we don't know, now we know today that business is warfare. And before I jump into it, let me acknowledge you all in the chat. Welcome, Sister Betty. Good evening. Good evening. Who else do I see? I see Sister Sandra D. She said, Assalamu alaikum, sister and family. February Black History 365. Happy Savior's Day. Wa alaikum salam, sis. I see Sister Aletha. Peace and blessings to everyone. And some of you all who are here who are a little shy to be in the chat. So anyway, going back to our series, Business is Warfare. And this is why we have to learn to protect ourselves and protect our businesses. And we're going to go through a number of different ways that we have to protect our businesses, even if we're a sole proprietor. Okay. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wrote in the Final Call newspaper on October 18th, 2011, he said, as a people, we have to survive. And if we are ignorant in a time like this, then our ignorance will be the means of our destruction. Powerful. He said, we are at war against forces within ourselves and forces outside of ourselves that keep us relegated to the condition of poverty and want. Let that sink in. I'm going to read that again. He said, we are at war against forces within ourselves, right? We just talked about being on a self discovery journey and a healing journey, but we're also at war with forces outside of ourselves that keep us regulated to the condition of poverty and want. And the minister didn't say this. I'm going to take a pause from reading from the article and just say, if we start to work on ourselves as he instructed me, then the enemy outside has less to work with. Okay? Working on ourselves, healing ourselves, dealing with the forces within ourselves that are impeding our growth and our development is key. And that begins with having confidence in who we are and believing in the power of the God within. We'll get back to that. So the minister goes on to say, to whom shall we look for jobs and justice? Do you think that our president, as desirous as he may be, can provide enough jobs for the millions of Americans that are unemployed and our millions too? Does not history teach us that if jobs are needed by Caucasian people and Hispanic people and Black people and Native Indigenous people, who will get the jobs first? If they're producing the jobs, then they're going to produce the jobs first for their people. And if we're lucky, 1, 2, 3, or 4, or maybe even a few more might come our way. He says, but history is teaching us, because we have been crying out for this for years, jobs. We need jobs. We must have jobs. We agree with you, but you are acting like children, little beggars who are asking someone else to do something for us that with right guidance and the will, we could do all of this for ourselves and earn the respect of the entire world. We're going to have to get up from where we are and go to work in order to survive and in order for us to prepare a future for our children. He said in Message to the Black Man in America, pages 56 to 57, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad stated nearly 50 years ago, as a people, we must become producers and not remain consumers and employees. We must be able to extract raw materials from the earth and manufacture them into something useful for ourselves. This would create jobs and production. We must remember that without land, there is no production. The surplus of what we produce, we would sell. This would develop a field of commerce and trade as other free and independent people whose population is less than that of the 20 million at that time, nearly 50 million today, so-called Negroes who are dependent here in America. He said further on in Message to the Black Man, page 174, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad instructed us in his economic blueprint to observe the operations of the white man. He is successful. He makes no excuses for his failures. He works hard in a collective manner. You do the same. The minister asked the question, does that sound like a racist or a hater to you? No. Now you can dislike white folk. That's entirely up to you. But Elijah Muhammad was saying, get past that and observe the operations of a man that has captured the world and made the world bow down to his civilization. He said, observe the operations of the white man. He is successful. He says, at least he was successful. He is not as successful today as he used to be. But that does not mean that we should not observe him and see how he went wrong, because God is going to give us the opportunity to replace him. Replace him because he has ruined his right to stewardship of land, resources, and people. You can see it happening today. He has abused the land, the air, the water, and the people of the earth. So God is going to take it from him and give it to whom he pleases. And whether you want to believe it or not, the minister says, he intends to give it to you. And then see how you act. because everybody looks good when we're all down in the barrel together. But when God raises you and gives you power and authority over what you did not create, then he's trying to see how we are going to act. If God replaces the wicked rule of the wicked husbandmen of the earth, who have ruled with injustice and evil, and then gives it to us to see how we act, then I ask you, he says, the question that he asked in Philadelphia. If God reserves this and makes you the head, as you have been the tail, will you treat others as they have treated you and me? Or will we thank God for trying us with power and then proving to God that our hearts are purified and we are worthy to rule? So all this bitterness and hatred over what we have suffered, our hearts have to be purified. He goes on to say, as the Bible teaches, I didn't choose you for righteousness because you weren't righteous. I chose you out of the furnace of affliction. So this process that we're engaged in now is a process that purifies the heart. So when you speak of bitterness and anger and hatred and come into power, then you'll do exactly to others as they have done to you. So you are no better than those whom God is replacing. You have to be better. And I say to us that we have to be better. All right? That's what this is about. This is us being better. So let's talk about business is warfare. Somebody type that in the chat. Business is warfare. Why? Because somebody, as we say all the time in the show is vying for that dollar that you are vying for. So if they can outsmart you, if they can trick you, if they can give you an offer that you just can't refuse, this is the minister talking, then they'll take your company from you because you don't have soldiers. And if you don't have any soldiers, you will never be successful in business. But we, the Nation of Islam, have soldiers, he said. Let's move on. You and I have business. If you and I have businesses, then we have to have soldiers. We have to hire people and services to protect our businesses. Those people that work for us have to be our soldiers. Those partners have to be our soldiers. So let's talk about what are the different ways in which we must protect our business according to SCORE. And I'm going to give you 7 ways that we have to protect our business. And again, this is born out of my inspiration from studying Queen Amina and how she built the empire that she reigned over. Okay. All of these things she did, and her empire was impactful and influential. Number 1, we have to choose the right form of business. You've made the decision to do for self. You may start off as a sole proprietor, just owning your own job, and that's a great start. Operating as a sole proprietor is the default business structure for a one-person business. But while this option may be easy, it's not necessarily the best choice to protect your business. Okay? For one thing, the sole proprietor structure doesn't shield your personal assets. That means if a customer decides to sue you or a vendor demands payment that your business can't afford, your savings, home, and other assets could be fair game. Depending on your future goals for your business, a corporation or limited liability company could be better for you. So you got to go through and evaluate where you are and see what works well. Some of us are just moving from working on a job to becoming independent contractors and kind of being a one-man or a one-woman show. And so we're in that kind of space. There's others of us that hire out, that subcontract other people. And so we may want to create an LLC. Those are things that we can help you with if you decide to book me as a consultant, as a developer. All you have to do is go book SajdahWendyMuhammad.com and you can see how to do that. Here's the next thing. The next thing you'll want to do is make sure that you have access to legal help. So important. For some basic legal matters, you can use an online legal service, right? It'll give you some access to information. It can give you basic templates for, you'll find articles on like checklists and legal forms and non-disclosure agreements, some basic business contracts and things like that, that you can probably navigate through yourself. It'll have some compliance resources because oftentimes, whatever industry you're in, there are compliance regulations and things like that that you may have to be mindful of. And by the way, no matter what industry you should be studying that industry so that you kind of know the culture of the industry in addition to the regulations. But then a lot of times you just need a lawyer to represent you. Okay, you may need a lawyer to just say, hey, can you look over this template that I have? That's my basic contract, so that before I plug and play, I know that the bones of it are right. Okay, they can help you with business formation. They can help you with some intellectual property, trademarks, and things like that. So getting the right legal help is important. The third thing that's very, very important is making sure that we have a good accountant. Okay, even if you plan on doing business bookkeeping yourself, you may have your QuickBooks or something like that that's tied to your credit cards and your checking account that automatically just sort of categorizes things for you. But you want to make sure that you get a good tax person, a good tax accountant, somebody who's into taxes, who keeps up on all the changing regs and things like that. Sometimes a consultant can do this. I'll do this, but I'll help you with financial projections and things like that. But I would always encourage my brand new entrepreneurs, handle your own finances, handle your own stuff. Don't give it over to somebody else, but get some advice from people who know what they're doing. Okay, that's going to be really important for you. You want to make sure that you buy yourself some business insurance. Okay. Most businesses need general liability insurance, which protects the business from a variety of claims that can arise from business operations. A business owner's policy combines general liability with property coverage and is a popular solution for many small business owners. If you provide advice or financial services or customers, you may also need professional liability insurance, also known as E&O or errors and omissions coverage. If you own a vehicle for business purposes like traveling to customers to perform services, transporting materials, or whatever, you'll likely need commercial auto insurance. Depending on which state you operate in, you may be required to have workers' compensation insurance. Okay. Other insurance products to consider include life insurance, business interruption insurance, cyber insurance. So meet with a good person, a financial planner. I see Sister Aletha's in here. Meet with somebody like that so you can get your insurance needs together. Okay. The fifth thing is you want to be smart about new customers and clients. I learned this one the hard way. Small business owners can face cash flow issues due to late or unpaid invoices. I'll tell you a story, something that happened to me. When I first started out in business, I jumped right away and I got 2 quasi-government contracts. I had a contract with HUD where I was doing HUD audits. And then I had something through, I think it was the Chicago Housing Authority, where I had another program I was working on. Well, not that those were bad contracts for me to get, but I had to learn that they were slower pay. So while I didn't have any other funds to fall back on, I was in a position with them where they would be on a 90-day pay cycle. Even though my invoice said net 30, it was just the nature of the business, the nature of Chicago Public Housing and HUD, that it just took them a long time. Some of them were into like mailing checks. So by the time they cut your check and mailed your check, I was starving and bills were backed up and I'd get the check and then I'd have to pay people. And it was really, really tough. And so that's why you have to be mindful of your customer. What probably would have made more sense for me to do is to try to find another client that was probably a corporate client or a small business client that could pay every 30 days to help keep things going. That was important. And I'll tell you another thing that I got into is because I loved what I did so much. I wouldn't always send invoices on time. I wouldn't charge properly, but that's not fair. It's not fair to the client and it's not fair to you, because when you do that to your client, when something that comes in that pays you, it'll take precedence over that non-paying client, and that person is relying on you. Sister Betty said, but look at you now. Thank you, Sister Betty. But I had to learn that kind of stuff, the hard way, and get accustomed to creating your invoices, sending out your invoices, understanding that you add value. It took me a long time to build a lot of businesses, probably hundreds, maybe into 1,000 or so businesses with people. And I know for sure into the millions of dollars when I really had to start valuing myself as an individual. I knew I was good at what I did, but I only took it as far as a corporate standpoint. I didn't look at it and say, man, deep within me, I'm really good at this. And as I was on this self-discovery exercise, let me just take a minute and say this. When I was on this self-discovery exercise this week of working on myself, I had to take a look at some of the things that I had done most recently. And I stopped and just looked myself in the mirror and I said, you had to be damn smart, damn strategic. You had to really be on a next level to accomplish what you accomplished. This ain't just no basic, let me make a phone call, go talk to somebody and get this done. Or it was a real strategy, a real strategic business development move that I was actually focusing and digging into. And that business isn't doing as well today. But as I started to think about what I accomplished, I just broke down and cried, because what I realized is that I never stopped and acknowledged myself for what I'd done. I did it with the corporate businesses, but even there, yet again, even though I had created these monumental things on my own, I had never stopped to say, you just did, and you did out of your brainchild, for the most part, what a lot of people take a lifetime to do, what a lot of people will never have an opportunity to do. And so I had to just stop and settle in with that and just say, thank you, God, within me that is connected, right, to that great power in the universe, that greater power outside of myself. When I tell you, I realize it clicked to me when I look back at my own work and I had to say, you hooked into the God on that one. So you want to be mindful of the businesses that you take on and what works for you at the time and where you are. So for me, and like I said, in that case, I was moving a lot faster. Well, I was going to say I was moving faster than what I was ready, but I guess God just moved me fast and it took me a while to catch up. Okay. Number 6 is you want to make sure that you protect your employees. Okay. You want to protect your employees from an electrical fire. Something can destroy your inventory. You want to make sure, if you have a brick and mortar business, that you have an exit strategy. What do you do if something happens, if somebody tries to rob the business? How are you securing them? Is there security? Is there a door lock? Do they buzz people in? These are things that are important. I learned this working in the Nation of Islam, because one thing that we had when working at the National Center or at the National House is that there was security there. So I can't take for granted the incubator, the protective womb that created, that allowed, and I'm speaking for myself and I can speak for all of us that were there at the time that I'm talking about, that allowed us to grow and flourish because we didn't have to worry about our security. We didn't have to worry about somebody running in on us. We didn't have to watch the door and type on the computer. We really were just free to kind of figure out what it is that we had to do. I think the most is that we were just sleepy. I was embarrassed the other day. I was watching a video from 1997 and I saw myself on there and I was so sleepy. I saw myself fighting to sleep. It was right after a big event, and Sister Aletha's in the chat. You know, we used to stay up all night, like 2-3 days in a row. And I just remember being exhausted. And I remember sitting in the back of the mosque and sitting there and the minister speaking. And I just remember going, okay, get up in 5 minutes because you're about to fall asleep. Just tired, you know. But I wouldn't trade it for the world because it was a safe environment. I learned not to be afraid to be tired. I find with a lot of entrepreneurs is they're really scared to be tired and they're afraid to work hard. They don't want anybody to see them working hard. They don't want to see anybody asking people for money or selling something. They're just afraid to play full out. And I remember, I remember my brother and I about 3 or 4 years ago went to go see Tony Robbins, and at the end we got a chance to go and meet him, like a meet and greet in the back. And when I walked up, he said, I remember you. He said, one thing I can tell about you is you play full out. And that was a big compliment to me because through that, I was in the middle of one of those exercises where I was working on pushing outside of the safe zone. And I realized that in order to get out of the safe zone so that I could do more and accomplish more and not be afraid to strategize, that I had to play full out. A lot of us never fully commit to anything. It's always, I'll go, but I don't really want to do this. Or I'll stop by, but I don't really want to talk to so-and-so. We got to learn how to just give and give our all. It's like playing an instrument or being on stage. You can't just say, tonight I'm just going to give 50%, maybe in rehearsal. But when it comes time to hit that stage and the cameras are there and the audience is there, you got to play full out. Okay. Sister Letha said, it was a safe springboard for us to grow and serve. That's exactly right. It was very safe. And I say that because one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about providing free game and a safe space for our youth is because so many of our youth don't really have that safe space. And they don't even know what it's like. They don't even know what it's like to be in a safe space. They go to work and they like the people they work with and everything seems cool. But they don't know what it's like to have a safety net and somebody that can be there for you and you can talk to and not have to look at the door and watch your back and all of that. So, and then the last thing, which is really nowadays one of the most important things, is you got to protect your business data. These cyber threats are on the rise and small businesses are frequent targets. You got to protect your business. You got to start backing up your company data and documents and storing them securely. You got to start working on a cloud-based file storage solution to keep your data safe and off-site. You don't want to be having file cabinets and things like that. You need some kind of cloud thing where you can change your passwords and protect your business from cyber crimes and hackers. You want to install firewalls and use business grade computers and antivirus software on your computer and on your phones. Okay. Create strong passwords and things like that. This is very, very important. I've had to deal with this even in the healthcare space. One of the things that we did to protect our databases, we had offsite cyber security that would just help us. If they issued the badges and they would create the passwords. And even if you came in with your phone and you wanted to hook to our Wi-Fi, if you didn't have permission, you had to hook to the guest Wi-Fi. So just, segregating things out like that and they were always checking and doing cyber audits and things like that. There was no such thing as just downloading an app on our server or going on your computer that was tied into our IT system where you could just download an app, and next thing you know, that app's reading all of our data. You had to have permission, and they had to check that app out for us. Something as simple as using your Sonos or playing music, we had to make sure that it was clear. And these are important things. And now some of these things are relatively inexpensive. They don't really cost a lot of money, but it's things that you got to look into. With your phones, make sure that you are, using like a VPN service. Make sure you're using something that's monitoring your phone. Change your passwords. Just mark your calendar so that every 30 days you can change your password and then secure them, store them in a secured place. This is really key. Be mindful of answering text messages and logging in. If I get a call from, let's say I get an email from the bank, I don't click on that email where it says click here to log into your account. I don't do that. I go out. I may even go to another computer or another device and log in to even see if it's real. Most of the time it's not. Sometimes you may get a call and they'll say, oh, hi, this is so-and-so bank, or this is AT&T. I would tell you, hang up and call AT&T directly yourself, because people are doing all kinds of stuff out here and you just never know. I mean, it's real. It's big. There's all kind of geofencing. It's so funny because at the surgery using geofencing. Geofencing is where when you shop or frequent a place, when you get into that geographical location of the place, then coupons or messaging comes up from that place. So if you just went to Dick's Sporting Good and bought something, if they have geofencing, when you drive past there on your way home, then you're going to see pop-ups with coupons that tell you to come get some new Nike gym shoes or some new yoga pants or whatever. And so we used to use it for healthcare. So when you would drive past the facility, it would, if you've ever gone to our site or anything, it would say, are you suffering from leg pain, leg swelling? Are you having trouble walking? Do you have any wounds that won't heal? And it's so sweet because some of the elderly people would do a U-turn and come in the building and say, the Lord just told me to come in here. Well, no, it's not the Lord. It's geofencing. That's when try to rent a car, and then when you pick up your phone, you're going to see ads on your Instagram about car rentals, or when you turn on your television and go to YouTube, then maybe an ad is going to pop up. No, it's not the Lord talking to you. The Lord does work in mysterious ways, but I would suggest that if you do think it's the Lord, that you look for some additional evidence. That's how I am. When I get messages and I go, ooh, what was that? Anybody who knows me know that I'm going down the line of 1,000 questions going, let me make sure. I'll even say, God, if this you gotta come on in and show me. But I'll go down the line of a lot of questions just to make sure that, I'm on track. But these things are important, and we got to know how to navigate in this new cyber world. And the other side of it is, let's not be afraid of technology. Okay. One of the things that I do often is I project manage myself. So it's like I'm a project. I have the calendar, the to-do list, the priorities, the mission, the key stakeholders. I do all of that for myself. And so you should do it with every client, every project, and things like that. There's basic project management tools and software that you can actually use. But I don't want you to be afraid of embracing technology. I see so many, especially a lot of us when we go into business and we're a little older, we are afraid of technology, and we have to stop. Think about it this way. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he loved, all evidence points to the fact that he loved technology. We're given instructions as Muslims to be right and exact right down to the modern times. So down to the modern times means that the modern times, you're going to likely be embracing technology. What's modern about you is that you probably are on the cutting edge. But technology, or what we consider technology, or something new, something cutting edge, has been around for centuries. I mean, think about it. They were talking about Ezekiel's wheel in the Bible. That's technology for that time, right? Even, driving a car when everybody was on horse and buggy, or walking or riding a horse, and somebody came with an automated vehicle, that was technology. Or even when people were just riding cars and they came with these fancy buggies, that was technology. So God has always used technology to move society forward. Always. Think about when the telephone first came out. That was technology. People were afraid of that. They were afraid of phones. They were afraid of the party lines. Think about when televisions first came out. People were afraid of that. That was technology, but then it advanced society. It was black and white TV, and then it became colored television. People were afraid. Think about that. When we first were on beepers and then cell phones. I remember my dad had this big brick type cell phone in his Mercedes, and people used to be like, oh man, he cold, he got a cell phone. Well, that was technology. And then look at where we are today, right? With our cell phones and stuff like that. So it's technology. So don't be afraid to embrace it. It looks strange when it first comes out. Think about computers. Think about when they told us you got to get on the computer and go to www.such and such.com. That was new. That seemed strange. It was odd to us. When new medicines and new surgical techniques come out, laser surgery was not a big thing 30 years ago. But now they can do major surgery with lasers and catheters, and you can go home the same day. So those are all things, that's all part of technology. You saw this week, Elon Musk made an advancement. They put a chip in somebody's head. This isn't new technology. It's something that's been out before. But as with all technology, you just got to pay attention, because people are so wicked. You don't want folks putting chips in your head. But they said that the chip is so cold that you can pick up on the thoughts of something else, or you can think something and send that thought to somebody else. I think it's interesting how this technology is replicating the attributes that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad always talked to us that we would have when we become cleaned up and righteous. Mother Tynetta used to talk about that often, right? Tuning in, being able to communicate with one another without talking to one another. We learn about that in Islam. Being able to extract knowledge and information from God or from the universe, or adjusting our energy levels so that we can increase productivity. These are things that we learn. Fasting. We got a fast starting tomorrow. 2-day fast, 3-day fast that help us to tune in so that the part of our brain that's focused on digestion gets a break and it can focus on something else. Well, now they're saying, well, we ain't waiting for all that. We just going to put a chip in the head to do that. But it's just interesting. But it's all technology. And so we want to embrace it. So it can be our friend and it can be our enemy. But at the end of the day, we can't take it for granted. Yep, the radio in the head, Sister Sandra. Welcome from London, DJ Uncle Phil. Welcome, welcome. And yes, you're right. The radio in the head, she talked about that. Mother Tynetta would talk about that often. And how tuning yourself to certain frequencies, again, this is technology, can help you with productivity, with thinking better, with receiving instructions from God, with preempting danger and all kind of stuff like that. So these are things that are important. So I wanted to go down that road and really discuss that deeply, is because I don't want us being afraid of technology. Okay. That is critical. All right. So I hope you guys understand that. Let me tell you what our next in this series is going to be. Where is it? I wrote it down. You can tell I've been writing in this notebook over here. It is going to be promoting local industries. So this is what we do a lot with the Black Muslim Business Directories. We're going to talk about the power of promoting and supporting one another. Is very, very, very important, very critical. I'm a huge proponent of supporting other people's businesses, especially other people that look like me or other people in my circle. That's very, very important to me. It's part of my lifestyle. So we want to make promoting local industries part of your lifestyle. So let's let's make sure that we're thinking about that. One other thing, let me make a note here. Make sure also, well, no, this is what I'm going to tell you. I got another series I want to do, which we can do in between some of these others. We got 3 more in this series: promoting local industries, fair taxation, and infrastructure development. Okay. But I want to offer to you all out there who are entrepreneurs, of course, if we know you, if you're a friend of the show or in the directory or something like that, where you can come on the show and you get a chance to interview me. You get a chance to ask me any questions that you want, business, life, love, business, free game. And so if you're interested in that, DM me on Instagram, not on Facebook, or send me an email and at mindofanentrepreneur@gmail.com. But it's easiest if you just DM me on IG or TikTok. Facebook, don't DM me there, because so many people are in that chat from around the world and they just be scamming. But DM me if you're interested in being the interviewer. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a show, and you will come on my show and you'll interview me. You can pick a topic about business, whatever you want to talk about, just answering questions. One of my favorite things to do is to do a Q&A. I love the mental exercise of that. Somebody said mentioning tuning in is interesting. That's why some of the best music that Duke Ellington made was with Billy Strayhorn. Both of them could virtually read each other's thoughts. That's beautiful. That's from Anpa Arcturus. Thank you. Thank you for that. That's exactly right. Okay, so if you're interested in interviewing me, you can DM me on Instagram or TikTok, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. Let me know that you're interested. We'll put together a show and just have some fun. And it'll be an opportunity for you to also promote your business, promote your channel, your page, whatever it is that you want to do. Or if you just got questions that you want to ask me and you want to be able to do it uninterrupted, let's get on the screen together and do some interviews. All right. Okay. So do you guys have any questions while I make these last few announcements? Let me know if you have any questions. Make sure that you support, like, and subscribe to the channel. If some of you are new, make sure you like and subscribe right now. Okay. Hit that notification button. If you support this channel and you're getting good information that you don't have to pay for, Cash App us, $ Sajdah Enterprises. You're getting free game. You're getting free information that if you had to log in, whether it was to any of our online influencers, you'd have to pay for it, and they're going to charge you something nice. If you went to any of these conferences and they made you buy a package to get these kind of series, it start from $4.99 on up to $20,000. That's how much people are charging, but I'm giving it to you for free. And I catch a lot of flack from my business self-help industry all the time on LinkedIn. And they go, why in the world do you give this stuff away for free? I said, because our people need access to free game. And if it just means that one person out here does something with it, then I've done my job. So since you don't have to pay for all of this, make sure you use the Cash App, $ Sajdah Enterprises, and contribute something. The show is free to you, but it's not free to me. So this platform costs money for us to run and operate. And I'm not afraid to let you all know that and be very transparent that your support is greatly appreciated. Also, support Sajdah House, which is the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. We are almost there. Y'all sister has been working. I can't even say like a Hebrew slave, because a Hebrew slave has somebody taking care of them. My situation is a little different, but I am determined. I'm driven. It's something, it's like the difference between a goal and a dream. They say the goal, you just have the goal and that's it, that's all. But the dream won't let you rest. This don't let me go. It don't let me rest. I don't think it'll ever let me go for the rest of my life. And so it's something that's important that I'm working on. And I hope you all will come and visit us in the NOI Historic Exhibit at Savior's Day at Huntington Convention Center. And we'll talk more about that as we get closer. In the meanwhile, Cash App Sajdah Enterprises for all this free game that you're getting. All right. Let me know if you have a Sajdah experience, if you want to share with the world what you get out of tuning in and from this information that I share. Make me a little video. Call it the Sajdah Experience and post it and tag me on it. And I love to have some video testimonials from you all. I have some written testimonials, but I don't have a lot of video testimonials from you all. So, okay, family, may Allah bless you. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. Sandra D said, you are LinkedIn, the people, the family, the work, the dream. Thank you, 100. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Uncle Phil said the meaning of dreams and lucid dreaming. Yes. Just subscribe. Thank you for just subscribing. Thank you so much. Your first time watching from Chicago. This is awesome. Thank you, Anpu Arcturus. Thank you so much. Sister Betty, I appreciate you, sis. Yes, I can't wait to do the interview show. So I hope you all DM me and you want to do that. I think it's going to be fun. Don't be crazy. Okay. All the crazy people. I mean, I'm a little crazy too, but know how to contain yourself. So we're not talking about being inappropriate here. So we're going to screen you. So when you get ready to do the interview, we know that you're not going to be asking anything crazy. So thank you each and every one of you in the chat. And with that, we will see you Saturday for the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks, inshallah, where we talk about life, love, and business. Oh, I got some beautiful things planned for the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talk. Y'all just wait. Just got to let the weather get a little warmer. And we're going to be moving around and changing locations. It's going to be fun. So thank you for sticking with the show. Thank you. Let me see. Somebody else says something before I go. You're welcome, Dr. Uncle Phil. Welcome. And we'll see you all soon on Saturday. And I'm going to try to figure out how to go live a little bit more, but I'm so busy working and planning. But there's some good things in store. So make sure you like and subscribe. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Hit that Cash App on your way out.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.